Sometimes you have to do that because the easy challenge is one you'll get lazy with. The big challenge gets you hungry.
Oh, how the tables turn.
That's a heavy topic,
and we need to focus on that. If not for yourself, then do it for your children.
Black book is in
Black book.
Men talk, black book. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner with the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that is sponsored by Doveman Plus Care. And being part of that movement, our team has reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as we come to the end of 2025, I'm speaking that will go to 500,000 by the end of this year. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. What is up, Kofi Sadat?
Good, much better this week, my family.
Yes,
this week. Last week, as you know, I was wrapped up in the Messiah blanket.
Yes.
Giving praise that I feel much better this week. Had to do that rest, recovery, the natural remedies, and all that good stuff. But I'm feeling good. How you doing?
Blessed, highly favored, magnet for miracles, solution for someone's problem, and Blackalicious. I'm glad to see that you are better. What was the remedy? Just TLC?
Man, some rest, relaxation, that honey, lime, ginger. You know what I mean? So it all worked out well. So just had to kind of do the natural thing and do that. So hey, if anybody out there is not feeling well, rest is the number one thing. Rest and recovery, and then have some nice herbs and tea and stuff like that will align you. Hopefully that makes you feel better.
Excellent. I think we have Kofi Morris who's in transit. So we're going to bring him up on the stage. Mr. Morris, are you with us? You need to unmute yourself.
Peace and blessings, brother. Yeah, man, I'm live and direct in effect. Giving thanks for another blessed night and our opportunity to connect with our listening audience. All is well, you know what I mean? It's been a very eventful weekend. So I'm definitely looking forward to chopping it up on tonight's topic.
Okay, fantastic. Well, you know what I want to share with everybody? Give us a win you've had since you've last been with us. So you know what I'm going to ask with Mr. Morris because he hasn't been with us for a while. So let's start with you. What's a win that you had? Big or small?
Big or small? Well, I will say now that you've given it a size, it has my brain going. But I'll go to, we're in a time of a lot of changes and shifts happening. And I'll say that the aspect of life in terms of personal growth and accepting, realities of change, understanding past patterns and changing and shifting and allowing for those changes and shifts and not giving into this thing called self-judgment. So I'll say that I've been able to accept this, the opportunities that have arisen, in my journey relative to my parenting, relative to business and personal life, in regards to accepting those changes and moving with them and not being too harsh on self, right? I think a lot of people tend to be, high achievers, people that want to set high standards for themselves can sometimes be hard on themselves. So I think it's a process sometimes of getting to accepting the need for change, allowing the shift, and not judging self. So that's definitely something for me in terms of another win.
Excellent. Fantastic. Kofi Sadat, give us a win.
Man, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later, but a win definitely is I got to meet one of my musical heroes of today, none other than Sizzla Kalonji. He was here in Scarborough, which is even a better thing. But I got to meet him along with other people, of course. But it was so great to actually have a conversation, or be part of a conversation with somebody that's, musically has a conscious message, for a very long time. But really, we often don't have that opportunity to kind of dialogue and kind of, have, hear from the artists themselves. So to actually have that event and happen in, our hometown of Scarborough was excellent. So I will share more about that. But, for me, that was a great win. So I would say that. So what about yourself, Dr. Vi? What's your win for the week?
So many, but I had one this afternoon that was really special that ties in with our conversation tonight. I went to a restaurant in Scarborough that's been around for a while. I won't name them because gotta
They ain't
promote us.
paying us money, man. They ain't paying us money. Go ahead.
And was there, and I've been there a few times. And there's a gentleman who's always there. Great personality, always friendly, just easy to, and always making sure we're doing okay. Are you doing with your meal? Do you need anything, etc.? And we got into a conversation about him, and he shared that he was married for 20 years, but was involved in a divorce 5 years ago.
Wow.
And from what he shared, it was the other lady's fault. She was cheating on him. Now, but which is, those things out, but he has invested, working for many years, 2 jobs to have his daughter come up from Trinidad and get education here in the Greater Toronto area. And she's graduated now. And I said, you know what? That is amazing, because again, we're here on Black Men Can Talk, and there's a lot of thoughts of Black men not taking care of family, not taking care of their children. Right. Here was a gentleman who was involved in a relationship for 20 years. The other partner cheated on him, but he still dedicated his time. He works 2 jobs.
Yep.
2 jobs to make sure that his daughter could get her up here from Trinidad, give her the education that she needs, and now has graduated, now moving to bigger pastures, professionally and personally.
That's blessed, man. Yo, we got to give the flowers, right, to for those who are stepping up and doing that thing. Life is not easy. It's hard to sometimes maintain the relationship. So definitely, things do happen, unfortunately. But it's, always important. I always say to my brothers, like, don't make that be, a driver between you and your child, right? Because you're here to do the works of guiding your child into the best life that you can. So, that's an important piece. So that's great to know that, that he's done that. It's unfortunate about the relationship, or maybe, things happen, but definitely we want to hail up the brother, because, as you mentioned, there's always that stereotype of Black men and Black fathers not being involved. And it's just great to hear that, he has done that for his daughter.
Yeah, I mean, it's making, just sharing that story today. I'm actually going to buy him a card and give it to him.
Love it.
I'm going to buy him a card, and not even next time I go there, so I don't have to go there, or just drop in and say, hey, you know what? Your story really inspired and touched my heart, and I just want to give you a card saying, congratulations on being a great dad.
Love it. And you don't have to wait till Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
There you go. So if any of my children are listening out there, you don't have to wait till Father's Day to give me a card or whatnot. So I'll put it out there selfishly.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a break.
Yes.
And when we come back from the break, we got a number of things that are going on. But we're going to come back from break. Sadat's going to share a video with us.
Yes.
And then we're going to have someone who was supposed to be with us last week, but he couldn't, but he's with us this week. And, people are still getting into that school mode. And we've got a gentleman who knows a lot about parenting and has been doing it for a long while. And he's here to drop some knowledge bombs to parents and to kids on Black Men Can Talk. So we'll be back in 30 seconds. Good morning. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show.
My name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network.
It's Carolyn Nicole time. She is here to make us better.
In 15 minutes, you could accomplish so so much for your health. This is where we have our morals, our values, our decision making.
I don't know if Wayne Harris is still here because he's probably commenting, but I got to tell Wayne about that because he'll go, "What?" All right, Morning Vibe with myself and co-host Ryan Knight, Monday and Friday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific, and that's some of the stuff you can catch on there. As always, welcome to Black Men Talk, where Black Canadian men come together to have real unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community. Also, if you want to subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show, hit the notification button, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of our platforms, email me at dr.vibe@drbeshow.com and join our Discord group by emailing me. So, with all that done, Kofi, Sadat, do you want to play that video now?
Yeah, let me just give a little setup if you don't mind. So really, I want to give flowers. You're always talking about the importance of giving flowers, to our brothers who are doing some great work. So I want to give some flowers to Farley Flex and Roderick of Urban Res. It's an organization that works with young people, both in contact with the criminal justice system. They do arts, like music and arts and stuff like that. They've got a mobile van. They can come to your community. And I know they also do lots of work in the correctional facilities across Ontario. So I want to kind of hail up those brothers for putting in the work. So they organized and they hosted the meet and greet with Sizzla Kalanji yesterday. And, things happen in alignment as far as I'm concerned. So knowing what our topic was going to be today, somehow it all aligned. But the question for the artist Sizzla was, what is your call?
By our grandparents, and we can pass it on to our children.
Did I put up too early for you?
That's the best thing for them.
Flip back.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No worries, right? So a call to action. So this is what his answer was in terms of a call to action.
Okay, here we go.
A good example being set is a good example being followed. Until we can instill the values being taught us by our foreparents into our children today, then we'll best have a good community. In having good parenting, you'll have good community outreach. You're not going to be there all the time with your kids, but a child being taught in the right sense, giving the right directions, being loved, being nurtured, being cared for, will carry all those values along with them throughout their lifetime and so pass it on.
There you go. So it's called to action or for us parents to really step up and to be able to, that is one of the number one things that we need to do is pour back into our children and the importance of, showing them the good values and then replicating that in community.
Okay. All right. Well, with that lead in, who wants to introduce our friend who is joining us tonight?
Before we go to Dr. Vibe, because of the impact of both Sizzla's visit, because there was a lot of lead up to Sizzla's visit, both his show, the interviews that took place, and the fact that his visit and his show actually has a social aspect to it, social impact aspect to it, which means that the funds generated, a percentage is going to his not-for-profit, right?
That's right.
That supports young people in Jamaica, which you don't hear a lot of a lot of artists, right? That these funds are going and actually on the flyer is specific, speaking to his Children Foundation or what have you, Youth Foundation or what have you. I wanted to just draw reference to something relative to this, which is acknowledging how impactful our ancestral past plays into how we show up presently as parents, right? And we talk about little things on this show previously. We've talked about different things relative to how we were raised and how that impacts our parenting. But that's literally what gauges what our future looks like. Is tapping into those aspects, and it could be really as basic and simple as common everyday manners, but that can also translate into when you interact with young people in community. I actually have a young person I interacted with more recently, and I'm going to reach out to his parents, to her parents, sorry, to acknowledge my interaction with her, right? And how I know it specifically speaks to how she was raised by them, right? Both of her parents. But I feel like those are the things that leave a lasting legacy where we can actually look back on, because all the other achievements, the musical stuff, even him as a artist, acting, we do all these wonderful things in the entertainment arena, but recognizing that what he said is that what you do inside your household will impact future generations, right? Regardless of what music he's laid, all the tracks he's done. If you meet his children, let's say on the street, and they're acting out of character, you're going to attribute some of that back to him as an artist, right? And as a father. So it's so impactful to have an artist specifically speaking about parenting, but we don't see that a lot. So I just wanted to draw a reference to that and acknowledge the fact that our ancestral lineage ties into how we raise our children, who they become, what it looks like. And that's a perfect segue actually into introducing our speaker, because what he's coming with and what he's speaking specifically, you can see it when you meet his children, right? So I don't know if you have his bio that you're going to read from, but I'll just say a couple things in terms of engaging and interacting and connecting with Oliver Levy, right? Of the Mindful Parenting Toolkit. One of the things that I can say is that the practicality of the tools that are utilized in the work that he does are impactful in the lives of parents. And from what I've seen in terms of my interactions throughout the years, has been a transition and a shift in the mindset of the parents and how it is they approach parenting, which is so key, because we know mindset ties into so much of how we function and how we behave. So I don't know, Brother Paul, if you were going to actually read a bio before I say anything more.
No, I'm going to allow you. You can do it, brother. We do it off the top.
Okay, beautiful. So Oliver Levy of the Mindful Parenting Toolkit is going to engage the audience tonight, speaking specifically about back to school, but I know he's going to be dropping some gems in terms of practical aspects, one, but also some of the theory behind some of the work that he does. And of course, he'll be giving us contact and all of that to connect with him. But without any further ado, introducing our brother.
One other quick thing before we bring Oliver up. If you are watching this live, you can call in via your smartphone, desktop, laptop, whatever digital device. Go to your favorite browser and go put in callme.ro.com and use the code in capitals FSPL8L. And now, without further ado, Coach Oliver's on the stage. What is up?
Coach.
Hello, guys.
Coach.
I love it. Thank you for having me here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity. Love it.
What's been going on in your world?
Everything is going on. Depends on what category you're talking about. Everything is going on over here. The first thing I must say, just by listening to you guys talk, and when I was listening to the artist that you guys were talking about, and it was what he was saying, and looking back to about 7-8 years ago, parenting wasn't a thing. And when I was just listening to you guys talking, I'm like, wow, I was so glad that I jumped into this, in terms of, there was a lot of fear factor into, getting into how the hell do you speak to parents, and how do you tell parents how to raise their kids? No one wants to be told what to do and stuff like that. Those are the kind of things was playing in my mind, and as a male and stuff like that. So when I was just listening to you guys, I was like, wow, I'm in a great place. So having said that, it's been amazing. Thank you so much. So everything is going on. You got to be specific with your questions.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, straight up off the bat, we always ask, how is the family? How are the children?
The family is doing well. Children are doing well. Wife doing well. Everyone is doing well.
Nice.
And when I was just listening to you guys about a big win, for me, every day is a win. The moment, I always say this, and whosoever kind of listen to me, the moment I wake up, and I see my wife beside me, and I go check on my kids. They're in their rooms, they're good and they're well. It's a big win.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. All right, beautiful, beautiful. So I don't know if you want to ask the first question, Dr. Vibe. I can open up if you're okay.
I
know
want
you-
to I want to ask Oliver, how
Yes.
did you get started?
Oh man. How much time? Like, give me a time to talk about that because it's a long story.
Give us the shortened version that we can put out to the folks.
Okay, real quick and short. So so I have three kids, 32, 17, and 14. So my 32-year-old is from a different mother.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was about 7, I was very physically, emotionally abusive to him. Because that's where I was raised on the farm in Jamaica, and hitting kids, yelling at kids, that's how you're gonna raise them, right?
Right.
And in no time, his mom said he gave me an ultimatum and said, "Well, you can't be doing that," right? And I said, you know what? It was tough for me because I didn't want to raise my kids with 2 different households and all that stuff. But that transition was tough. But I quickly left that relationship because I thought she had a problem. Now, fast forward to when my 17-year-old, when he was about 4, I found myself doing the same thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, something got to give. The common denominator has to be me. So something has to shift. Right. And then obviously my wife at the time gave me an ultimatum to him like this. Yeah, something is happening here. So quickly, I kind of got into a mindset of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I was a little bit depressed for about 2-3 weeks, close to a month. I almost lost my job and stuff like that, and try to find my way. And we're all on this call knows, and the audience knows that there's certain things about energy. So my energy was towards me being a better dad. And that just kind of went into a whole different spin where I read books. Back then it was DVDs and CDs. I was listening to stuff. I was on this personal development path. It just kind of led me to a whole bunch of different things that relate to just me being a better person, me being a better husband, me being a better person, me being a better dad to my kids. And fast forward to me doing a few things in the community. I was running camps and doing some different camps and different programs in the community. And a few parents hired me to come to their houses to kind of show them a few things about kids and how to raise kids, because the things that I've learned, I was passing it on. And I was coaching basketball at the time. I was coaching soccer at the time. And over probably 2 years or so, going to their houses, and they'll pay me. Right? They said, Oliver, you need to get into this other than just coaching. You need to get into more parenting. Parents need this. And that was it. That was a wrap.
Nice. So you know what? From your conversation, I'm picking up, and I definitely want to ask you how you came to this, because one of the challenges I will say, as a Black man, a Black father, it's hard to be humble. It's hard to have that self-reflection around, hey, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. In particular with the parenting, because it becomes very personal, right?
Yeah.
So what advice would you have to, any, Black parents or, Black fathers, let's say in this case, around, coming to that place where you have to do that self-reflection and ultimately that self-correction. So, what kind of advice would you have for somebody who, struggling with trying to do that? That self-reflection and that self-correction.
Yeah, that's a great question, Paul. It has to do with what's your why? What do you want? From, like, personally, obviously we have so many different goals, right? But me, when I was probably 9, 10, 11, I was thinking, I want to be the dad. I want to be this kind of dad. In my mind, I had a lot of things that I wanted to be, obviously opposite from my parents, right? Because I didn't really like the environment. Nothing wrong with our kids, our parents, because they had to do what they had to do in terms of the tools and strategy they had. But they also start with your why. And you have to be really, truly believe that you can accomplish this. And once you start off where, for me, I just want to be a better dad. I just want, there has to be another way. Because when you said being humble, obviously coming to, when I was younger, coming to a new country like Canada, and I'm here thinking it's a different culture, I'm like, this is not how you raise kids, because how we were taught. You're talking about intergenerational trauma, right? Oh, we're taught. It's really tough to get out of that. That's where, the humbleness, you have to really check yourself, and you have to be able to willing to adapt and adjust. And this is where personal development comes in, because I find that when I'm dealing with parents and it's really tough for them to grasp some of the simple, and I'm not really like, it's really simple strategies. I realize that they have to be in a personal development path to kind of understand who they are and where they want to go. What's their why? So I would start off with that.
What's your why? Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Dr. Vibe.
I don't know if Kofi Morris wants to come in, but I always got lots of different conversation pieces. I just want to make sure Mr. Morris is represented properly. I know he's driving. All right. I'll jump in with another question. Oliver, how do you provide suggestions for Black parents, Black fathers, when with dealing with Black children and social media?
So I didn't hear that last part. You kind of went down.
About Black parents, Black fathers dealing with children and social media.
Oh, social media. Well, first of all, we have to understand social media is a good thing. I don't want no one to think that it's a bad thing. Social media is important. Let's start back a little bit in terms of devices, because we can't talk about social media without talking devices. And when it comes to devices, so I'm hearing echo.
Go ahead.
Yeah, when you're talking about devices and social media, we have to, first of all, we as parents, we have to understand the social media. I talk to a lot of parents, and I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on TikTok, I am not on. We must understand it. Even if you don't have an account, you must understand it. I would say open up an account. So that's the first conversation should start. Another thing too is, what are the ages? Why do children need, or we think they need, a device or a phone? Why do they need that? So we have to really, is it because of social pressure? I think a lot of times it's because of social pressure. All their friends have it, so they have to have it. So again, it goes back to your family values. It goes back to the constant conversation we're having with our kids at home. And a lot of my kids, the two youngest ones, 17, grade 12, and grade 9, there's a lot of things that they're the only one. And guess what? They don't feel left out.
Right.
They're the only one doesn't have a phone consistently, because it depends on the time. And even my 17-year-old, right? He doesn't always have his phone.
Right.
He's the only one doesn't have an Air Force One at school, because I'm in Vaughan, I'm in Woodbridge area, so everyone has to have a Air Force One. That's just the norm, right? He's the only one that's not getting driven to school. He rides his bike or his walk. So, and these things, the reason why I'm saying that, it may seem small, but these small conversation, it happens so often, Dr. Vibe. It happens so often from they were 6 or 7 years old. Now the conversation where it's the norm for them. That's their world.
Right.
So when it comes to social media and we're talking about devices, it has to be an ongoing conversation. You can't tell a grade 9 or grade 10, say, you know what, you're not having your phone. You're going to have so much power struggles. It doesn't make sense. So it has to be a conversation, and the conversation has to be around values.
I like that.
And help them to set goals and stuff like that. So family values has to be part of that, because obviously my kids are like, okay, why can't I have my phone and in summertime and this and that, and we just have a conversation around it. So and there's tools, obviously, right? These are just conversation, but there's tools how to get the kids to manage their own devices, because my kids manage their own devices without me getting involved.
Right. I like that. So for those who are Kofi, are you good? Are you still driving? Okay.
The question I would hop into
Go ahead.
just engage with is going backwards for one moment to connect to these two words, mindful parenting. And what does it mean? What is mindful for parents that don't know and have never even thought of putting those two words together? Because this thing about mindfulness has become so more popularized these days. What does it mean to be a mindful parent? For those that are not aware.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So shameless plug here. My organization is called Mindful Parenting Toolkit. So mindful parenting means we have to be mindful of our approach. A lot of parents are not mindful of the long-term effect of our approach. And so what it means is, in terms of being present, understand your approach. And a lot of times this is how I kind of reel back parents in, and this is how easy for me to coach parents, because I don't really tell parents what to do, because I realized that early when I was doing this practice is that they'll get offended. I'll give them insights and let them understand what you're doing now in terms of, for example, timeout, yelling at the kids, whatever the case is. When we give a child timeout, we're not mindful that a timeout is going to take away their confidence, their self-esteem, their resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
So in this day and age, if you take away a child's self-esteem, confidence, or resiliency, how are they going to be able to succeed anywhere in life? And I kind of break that down to let them understand that there's the mindful piece of it. Yes, we're in the moment. Yes, that's the first thing you want them to do, because they're not doing it. You give them timeout, and in timeout, you're hoping that they will sit there and think about what they did wrong. Usually 99.9% of the time they're not. So we're not mindful of that process. We're not mindful of the process of they're going through in the timeout chair. And we're not mindful of all our reaction is. And we're also not mindful of our reaction is what we take from our parents, which called intergenerational trauma. Well, most of the time, in my case, in ways, depends on your culture, it's very traumatic experiences. And we're not so when we're not mindful or we're not present, we find ourselves in a situation where there's a lot of power struggles. So that's where the mindful piece comes in. So thank you for that question, Kofi.
Les.
Kofi, I can jump in. I always can jump in. I always want to give you guys the.
You know what? Let me ask one question, and I'll allow Dr. Vibe to come in. You mentioned about mindful parenting, and one of the things I'm going to come back to, I love on your website, you talked about you met your wife on the dance floor. We're interested to two-part question. We want to know what you were dancing to. That's one thing, but as I mentioned it, co-parenting, right? What advice do you have for those who I wouldn't say struggling, but it's always to get both parties, whether you're living with the person or you're not living with the person, right? But you want to have, again, like you said, that mindful parenting. But when it comes to co-parenting, what advice would you have for those that, again, might be struggling to, kind of align some things when it comes to the child rearing?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I was dancing to, is it a Cisco song?
Listen, listen. Next time we're going live on video. We want to see the dance.
Yeah, but that was pretty interesting. The situation how I met her. I met her on my birthday actually. So that was interesting. But when it comes to co-parenting, man, it is not easy, man. It's tough. The first thing is emotional intelligence. We have to be emotionally aware. For example, I'm in a situation where my wife was born and raised in Canada. Her parents are from Barbados, born and raised in Canada. So her parenting style is totally opposite from mine. It's not even a style. It's just that my strategies that I've used to, because my style of parenting, it was kind of aligned with her in the beginning stage when I was talking about, when my second son was 3 and 4. But once I start learning new tools, no, it's totally different. Now I have to be emotionally aware of her situation and how she was raised.
Right.
It was really tough. Right. So I have to really take a step back. And for me personally, it was more of an indirect coaching. So it was so tough that I couldn't really, there's something called empowerment paradigm. Empowerment paradigm is that you can control yourself, what you do, nobody else. So I start focusing on that. I start owning that. And the moment I start just zoning on the kids, and the kids were living 2 different lives in the beginning, where she'll go to Walmart with the kids and stuff like that, just running errands, come back home, it's like a chaos. You're never going to Walmart with me again, right? And I'll go to Walmart and I'll go here and there, and it was nice and peace and quiet. And I would never really tell her, this is what you need to do. And this is where you need to go when you go to Walmart. I would never do that. What I'll do, I'll just zone in on my kids at home. And it was a very interesting situation, Paul, where when they're really young, we used to divide and conquer, like getting them up in the morning. She'll be upstairs, brushing their teeth, organizing, and I'll be downstairs making breakfast and lunch for everyone, including my wife. And there'll be chaos. There'll be chaos upstairs.
Right.
Who's brushing their teeth first? Who's the washroom first? This, that, pushing each other. And then after about 2 weeks, I say, I ask her, can we switch? You downstairs, and then there was nothing. Upstairs was like, and then downstairs was chaos. This is my chair. This is my table. This is that, like all that stuff. And then now, I have a conversation with her, but nothing really telling her, because, parents get really in their feelings, especially people that you really close relationship with, right? Parents, co-parenting, right? So all I did was just empowerment paradigm. I just focus on the kids. And then once you start seeing how the kids are reacting now, they're brushing their teeth by themselves. They're taking out the garbage. They're organizing their shoes by themselves. I don't have to say nothing. I don't have to do anything. Then she start kind of listening to all I'm dealing with them, and then she slowly start come on board. Even until now, right?
Right.
So it's so important. The emotional piece, emotional intelligence, emotional awareness.
Right.
It's so important for our co-parents.
There you go. All right. Thank you for that. All right, Dr. Vibe.
You have used a term a lot that people may not understand. And I just want to know, can you give us a lay person's version? What is emotional intelligence?
Thank you. So emotional intelligence, aka emotional awareness, is not only understanding your emotions and how you're showing up, because we have to understand the other person's emotions and how they're showing up too, and how we're triggering them. And if you want to break it down a little bit more in terms of emotional intelligence, it's important to really, it's all good when everything is going well. When we are triggered, we must take a step back. Once you take a step back, then you can start be aware of your own emotions. So understand your emotions and learning how to deal with it by stepping back, you start kind of understanding, how you're showing up. And it's so important because when you show up, it's almost a magnetic field. How you show up is how the other person's going to show up. And that in itself is how you gain that intelligence of really owning in on your emotions, on the other person's emotions. So, for example, when I was kind of starting to understand this emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, what I used to do, I used to practice with my wife. I used to say certain things that get her upset, or I used to say certain things that trigger her so she can be triggered and try to get me upset, because that's how we all are, especially when it comes to wife and husband and partners. And when she says something that really hurt me, I'll take a step back. And I realize that she's not really serious, or she's not true to what she's saying. She's just emotionally disturbed right now. And that's the key, guys. Can you imagine? I'm pretty sure one moment, especially Paul, I know you have kids. Your kids will say, I hate you. Right? They're not serious. They're in an emotional state. So we have to really take a step back and say, what causes him or her to say, I hate you?
Right.
That's part of just being emotionally aware.
I like that. Brother Kofi, you're home.
Yes, sir.
You're in the studio. You've been listening
sir.
in.
So 100%. So I mean, so many gems, like I mentioned to you guys, would be dropped tonight. I hope folks are taking notes. Our listeners are taking some notes, and if there's any questions, I'm not sure if there's any questions in the chat. I know we're to have a call in, so it'd be good to kind of check in with regards to that. But also, we're talking about back to school and preparation. Something came to my mind relative to parents and especially fathers that are navigating this space of back to school and some of the stresses that come along with that, right? I'm thinking, speaking of mindfulness, like how would you say, fathers can use like simple mindfulness practices to manage the stress and stay present in the lives of their children? Because one thing I got from when you first shared, you spoke about like being in tune. You spoke about, and again, that ties back into mindfulness, tuning in is what you said, tuning in. And I just think of it like, again, a radio station, a TV show, whatever the case may be, you got to be present. You're present with your show, you're present with your game, you're present with these things. So how can fathers manage your stress and be present with their children, by utilizing some of these mindfulness practices?
That's a big one, especially this time of the year. Being present. So being present, and this is really, really tough for a lot of parents, especially fathers. Education. We get caught up so much in terms of you must go to school, you must take, you must be in class, all that stuff, being early, all that, right? Which is very important. But at the same time, we have to be present. So what I usually tell parents is that the first day back to school is get them in a routine 1 week prior to. 1 week before, get them into that routine in terms of go to bed on time, wake up on time. A matter of fact, if it's the first day of grade 1 or grade 2, those are crucial years, or the first day of grade 9. What I usually do, all you can do to do this, I call it the dry run, where start off with 1 week before, and then a couple of days before, wake up and actually go to the school as if you are going to school before school starts. Go to school. If it starts at 8 o'clock, you get there 7:55, walk around the school or drive around the school. What do you do? And if you, depends on the weather, you can pack a lunch or you can just sit outside in the park or just have a lunch or emulate that feeling of school before school starts. That's what I've done almost every single year, including I didn't do my grade 12 with my son in grade 12 this year, but grade 9, 10, 11, I did it with him. Grade 9 this year, my daughter, I did it with her. She chose to ride, so we rode to the actual school and we walk around the school. We parked the bike, walk around the school, and so I would say be present in terms of do not get caught up into the grade or the subjects or whatever the case is. Get them into that mindset. And here's another piece. When they come home from school, and this could be every single day for the rest of the year, when they come home from school, it's very, very important how the conversation we're having with them, the question we're asking them. Instead of saying, how was school today? Because you already know they're going to say good. One word answer. Just depends on the age. Who did you have lunch with today? And who did you sit beside with today? Who cracked a joke in your class today? Who's the joker in your class? Get him to be aware. This year was a different conversation with my high schoolers because they're not in middle school anymore. You talk about awareness. I get them to awareness. I don't focus on grades or school at all. I asked my daughter, what's your favorite subject this year? Well, Dad, I'm not sure because we haven't started anything yet. Okay, so which subject are you looking forward to? French. Okay, so what shoes was the French teacher wearing? I don't know. What dress? Or what pants? And I'll ask 3 or 4 questions along those lines.
Right.
My son, same thing. His favorite, right? And, they have fun engaging in this. Why? Because kids don't want to talk about what they learn in class. They don't want to talk about what they learn in class, right? I remember my daughter, I think grade 3 or grade 4, she just talked about running around with the butterflies outside and all this cool butterflies and stuff like that. And so Brother Kofi, being present and being aware and do this, prep them a week before, engage them in conversation towards school a week before, 2 days before, get them to, I call it the dry run in terms of, and have fun with it. Have fun with it, right? And so I would say just being aware when it comes to back to school.
Yeah, which I find interesting. My daughter just started college this year. And at college and university, they usually do a frosh week or an orientation. And it's important because, like you said, you get acclimatized to the school, you get to meet some new people. So I think that idea of a dry run is an excellent idea to implement, even at the post-secondary level, I would say, if, folks can do something like that as well. I know we were supposed to have a call-in today.
Well, we have a question from the audience, by the way. But just before we go any further, we'd be remiss. You want to get in touch with Oliver. These are all the different ways: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the parenting tools. The Linktree link is there, and it's in the comments section on many of the platforms you're watching this live or on replay. We do have a question. I think we have to call this wonderful person, Black Men Can Talk fan number 1, because she's on every conversation. Shakoi asks, and I think going back to what you said a little while ago, what if stepping back is seen as disrespectful? How to navigate from there?
What if stepping back? What was the context in stepping back?
Yeah, maybe so. I I can't remember. I know you talked about stepping back. So, Koi, if you can be a little bit more detailed.
Is that the co-parenting piece? I think it's the co-parenting
Yes.
piece. Stepping back, what if it seems disrespectful? That's an interesting question. I would think stepping back wouldn't seem disrespectful. Help me out here, guys, in terms of the question.
Well, maybe I'm going to ask Shakoi. Okay, she goes with emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay, so with emotional intelligence, stepping back, you basically, because I talk about empowerment paradigm. So the empowerment paradigm that we all know is just that we're not familiar with the technical term, but it talks about you just focusing on what you can control. And this is what I might tell my kids too, right? I can't control my kids, and I don't want to control my kids. We don't want to control our partners or the co-parenting or whatever relationship we have with our kids. You cannot control them. The moment you start, that's a whole different dynamic. So when I say step back from talking to them or telling them what to do or remind them of anything. Your actions can speak for itself in terms of what you're doing. So stepping back means step back away from dealing with them and focus solely on your kids in terms of the empowerment paradigm. So that shouldn't be viewed as disrespect. That's understanding your emotions, their emotions. That's a little piece of the emotional awareness, and to understand that we all get triggered when somebody's telling you what to do, micromanage, especially when this is my child. Oh, dare you tell me what to do, right? So I've seen it all the time. So stepping back means just kind of stay in your lane, basically, and just focus on your child.
Okay. And she says, thank you for your answer.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Appreciate it.
Gentlemen, continue.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So
I can hop in.
Go ahead, Kofi. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Unless you had a question. So kind of shifting, because funny enough, this piece around back to school, because we're now into, week 2. Just thinking about the fact that, some parents weren't able to do the dry run and stuff like that. What are some things that you'd still kind of recommend that would be helpful for parents now, especially with this piece that you mentioned of kind of like I would look at it like thinking outside of the box, right? The after school conversation you referenced, not using the basic, simple, regular questions that are already going to push away the children. What are some of the things that you'd kind of recommend now that we're in the school year? We're in week 2. What are some of the things that can help these, fathers and parents, be proactive relative to even whether it's even the nighttime before school or the prep before the school in the morning? What are some of the recommendations that you'd say parents would have?
So I like when you talk about, the routines, nighttime and stuff like that. And I like to start like from the basic, right, before we even get there. What I would recommend too is there's something called lunchbox notes. Kids love this. The younger kids. I'm going to talk about older kids in a bit. The younger kids, elementary kids. So write fun jokes, write cool stuff, and kind of hide it in your child's lunchbox. Something that they're looking forward to every day, right? Or every week or every other day. And so remember, routine, if you want your child to stick to whatever routine, it could be nighttime or morning time, especially morning time when we have to rush out the door to go to work, we have to find a way to make them feel significant. That's the most important thing. So how do you make them feel significant? Obviously, having conversation. Maybe you're reading a book with them. You're having a conversation. I'm not sure how old they are, whatever the age they are. You can go to Walmart, get an alarm clock, talk about the time, talk about the day off. Because I find that, Brother Kofi, a lot of parents, because we're so busy, and I get it, we don't find or make the time to have a lot of conversation around, say, for example, in this case that I want to allude to is the morning routine. find the time, set them up for success the night before about the morning. And the most important thing is give them choices. And you want to strategically give them choices. For example, say a child, they're supposed to wake up at 7:30 to get ready to leave the house at 8:30, right? You set them up for success in terms of you can have a conversation like, I see that, we've been getting better in the morning in terms of, because you don't want to use the word, oh, we've been lazy in the morning and stuff like that. But I find that it's been a rush in the morning. Don't you think so? It's been a rush in the morning. And so moving forward, what time would you like to wake up? And you want to strategically say this. If you know they're supposed to wake up at say 7:45, give them a choice. Do you want to wake up 7:30 or 7:45? You see what I did there? So if you know 7:45, they're supposed to wake up out of cutoff, you give them a choice. You know they're going to say 7:45 because they want to sleep in a little bit longer. So these are the strategies you use to kind of get them into less power struggles in the morning. On top of that, you're writing them a cool little notes. It could be not jokes. It could be dad jokes. It could be whatever stuff that they like, right? And also get them involved into preparing breakfast. Ask them, what would you want for breakfast tomorrow? What are the choices you want for breakfast tomorrow? You want eggs? You want pancakes? And then you make it fun. Get in a groove and make it fun for them. So that's the elementary. The older kids, okay, it's a little bit more a different conversation in terms of, I would say, all kids. Let's go back. This is very, 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 very important. And for those who are, and Dr. Green kind of shared my link, you can go on my link and you can get these resources for free. What I'm about to tell you guys in terms of a letter to the teacher. Write a letter to the teacher, and I have 3 templates, various different templates to help you to write a letter to the teacher within the first 2 to 3 weeks. Wait till the second week to do so, because the first week, this is perfect timing, because the first couple of weeks, teachers are getting back. Teachers are trying to get back into routine as well, and all sort of different things are happening, and with registrations and office and all that stuff. So once I get back in a routine, it's time to write them a letter about your child and about you as a family and all that stuff. You'll see out laid out. All you have to do is just kind of cut and paste and then fill in little things based on that's unique to your family in this letter. So that's important. So now back to the older kids. Now it's a similar thing where you have to have a conversation around nighttime. This is what I do all the time. Right? What time do you want to go to bed? And it's not like, say, you're leaving it wide open. You ask the question, do you want to go to bed 9 or 9:30? 9:30 is a good time for you to give them a choice. So you give them 9 or 9:30. And once they choose that choice, this is how you make them feel significant. When they have a choice and they get to choose, they feel like they're in the driver's seat. They feel good about themselves. And guess what happened, guys? Everything else is easier. Now we can get into routine. Now you can talk about routine. Now you can talk about different things. And it's easier for them to start comply and cooperate.
Beautiful, beautiful. Once again, I always say, if you don't have a pen and pad, you're not taking notes, you're losing out. I'm going to recap a couple of things that came from what you shared, is giving our children choices. And I think growing up in these Caribbean households, a lot of us, we didn't have nothing called choice.
Nothing called choice.
The
Choice
was the belt or the shoe. Which one you want, right?
Yeah.
So, how do we help our children feel empowered? That's a lot of what I'm getting from what you said. Make it fun. I've heard, if you guys have heard him, Coach Oliver say, make it fun so many times in this call. and I'm going to come circle back to that one. Engage, be present, pre-plan. It seems like pre-planning is something that should be really important. Keeping the lines of communication open. So I think there's a lag on my sound, but did you hear all of those pieces?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the thing about making it fun, it's like it's this blaring neon sign that's coming in my head of some of the fathers that I know that are like, fun? What part of this is fun, Bridget? I don't know how I'm supposed to make this. What do you mean make it fun? But I think the piece that you said, for example, with the notes, I think that's something that is very tangible, very practical, that fathers can do. And for those who've never done it before, it's a shifting of your paradigm, because I think the thinking is, who am I to be putting notes in my child's thing? But I want to challenge the fathers this week, right, to actually put this into practice and see the outcome, right? Actually see the outcome and come back to us and tell us how that was. But I'm just thinking of this making it fun piece, and what is it? How do you do that, if that makes sense, right? For fathers that are thinking parenting is not fun, I don't know what is fun about this thing. It's serious business, and I have to make sure that da 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 da.
I just want to add something before you answer that. I just want to add something because I remember an experience that Kofi and I, we were working in the barber shops where we were engaging Black fathers about parenting. And I think Kofi, just to add to the conversation, sometimes it's not just how fathers look at themselves in terms of not having joy or bringing that to their parenting, but also the way that we're perceived. We all remember the saying, wait till your father gets home, right? So the gentleman was talking about, as a father, you go, whether you're at work or you go out, and then, you might have a partner that's promising, a harsh punishment to the child when you get home, right? You may not even be aware of that. But right away, now you become that heavy. You become that person that the relationship with the child is that when dad speaks to me or dad acts towards me, it's something that's going to be about punishment, right? So that wait till your father gets home mentality is something that also I think would be challenging for fathers, because it's not just about you, as you talked about the paradigm, which is about you, but it also becomes impactful when someone else is having that expectation that you're going to come and bring no joy, right? Just the opposite of that. So I just wanted to add that insight, remembering about that father says, hey, that he's seen as a goon, as he said, So yeah.
I'm glad you add that in, because that's where everything comes from. We as dad, it's not supposed to be fun, and unless we're out and about and we're just joking around. But it's very important, and this is to be honest with you, this is the toughest piece in terms of dealing with fathers, in terms of how we were perceived. We're supposed to be the guy with a hammer, the bad guy, the guy who's supposed to save the day, or the parent supposed to save the day. But think about that. And this is the most challenging thing now, because I don't really tell or demand parents what to do. I have to help them shift their mindset so they can do what they need to do. So the mindset shift is, and this is the toughest piece, guys, the mindset shift is when we show up like the bad guy, stern, strong voice with a little bit of fear, we think the children is going to listen more. And I'm telling you right now, it is the direct opposite. So what I help parents to shift the mindset is when you speak respectfully to them, you get on their level, you treat them with respect, especially when they misbehave. You must treat them with respect. Once you start doing that, I guarantee you within at least 7 days, in no time, the child started to shift their approach and their mindset in a positive direction. Here's another thing too, particularly to Kofi's question when it comes to fun. When I ask dads, now there's different ego states we're all in. When you're out and about with your kids, or you're laughing with them, or you're rolling on the floor with them, and you're just in that space with them, and you're just having fun and all that stuff, that a child ego state. Now, when you come in and you start ordering, directing, correcting, which version do you think your child loved the best? It's an obvious choice.
Right.
Now, why can't we be in the same mindset and still lay down the law? For example, if I were to call my son, he's 17, or my daughter, 14, about something terrible they did, or we're planning a vacation, there's no difference in my voice or my tone of voice when I'm having that discussion, or when I call them. You know, sometimes when you want to talk to your child, or you said, oh, the mom might say, wait till your dad comes home and stuff like that. And when your dad comes home, okay, who did this? There's no change in my tone of voice when I want to talk to them about something terrible, or we're talking about a vacation. It's the same tone of voice. It's the same mannerism. I'm going to call them the same way.
I hear you.
So we have to shift the mindset, because you have to remember, when they see dad comes around, or dad's voice, they start having anxiety. You might say it's a good thing because now they're going to listen. Of course, that's on one side. On the other side is, by the time they reach 17, 18, they're not listening to you no more. And if they are, then they're not mentally there. They're physically there, but they're not mentally there. So they're checked out. And we all know, and most parents don't want that. So we have to shift. And there's a process, obviously. There's a 3-step process to shift that mindset now.
Right.
To that zone. Because it's not easy. I'm not here telling you because I can do it. And I'm not, it's
no. Can't be easy. Can't be easy. Definitely.
Never not easy.
Yeah.
But if I can do it, coming from where I'm from, and you guys only learn a little bit about my story, right, anyone in the world can do it.
Shay.
You have to start little by little. I'm going to make this last point before I bring it back to you. There's one point, Dr. Vibe, that my wife said to me, you're getting soft. And when she said that to me, that was, as a man, right? That could hurt. But as soon as she said that, I start chuckling in my mind. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Time will tell. And eventually, in no time, she start realizing the approach that I was taking with the kids. This is the approach you need to take if you want to see the results that you desire. It's a must. You cannot take the same approach you've been dealing with your son when he was 3, 4, 5, and you're not getting the result you desire. And then 16, 17, you're doing the same approach. It's going to get worse. So that's what I mean by having fun. Engage with them. Have fun with them. And the more they see you engaging and just be on their page. My son called me bro sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Be on their page. Then they're going to be way more up to, doing what you want them to do with way less power struggles.
100%. All right, Vibe, how are you doing? I have another question, but Dr. Vibe, go ahead. I need you to step in.
Dr. Vibe is vibing.
I'm good. I want to, if I have permission to ask a question to Oliver, how does a parent handle your child saying school is boring?
You know, it's funny. You know, I'm laughing. My daughter came on the first 2 days. She said the exact same thing.
School is boring.
School is boring. And after I asked her a few questions that I wanted to ask her, which was engaging because she loved those questions, and I'm like, I heard you said school is boring. a couple times. Why? Talk to me. Walk me through that. She said, "Well, Dad, everybody's talking about this, and high school is this, and high school is that. I don't see what they're talking about." I'm like, "Okay, all right, you're talking about something different then, because everybody have this high expectations, and then I'm not sure how that equate to it's being boring because it's not where everybody hyped it up to be, and it's not there. So in my mind, I'm like, it's a good thing because then you had an expectation and it was that high. So I'm not sure if it's the same boring, but I would say if when kids tell you that school is boring, think about it. Think about it, guys. If a child tells you school is boring, they engage you in they want you to engage you in a conversation, a meaningful conversation, not for you to say, "What do you mean? Like what? You're not learning stuff?" Like no. We're changing that approach. We're not doing that approach anymore. Oh yeah, school is boring. That's interesting. Talk to me more about that.
Right.
Well, what does that mean? What does that look like? And I would say, whatever the conversation is, I would say, share some of your stories when you're in school. Help them to relate. Again, being present, being mindful.
Yeah.
Right? Because
you sure you want me to share those Lamro stories with them?
Right? Yeah. It's because we're going through it.
We're
going through it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Swinging back to the parents, in particular for those who might have had a negative interaction with the school system, what advice do you give to parents to help them to cultivate positive relationships with administration and their children's teachers after having a negative interaction? Or you might have had that negative interaction when you came up in school, right?
After having a negative reaction?
Yeah.
Or interaction?
Right.
So first of all, this is the reason why I like to tell parents, do that letter, and also schedule an interview with your child's teacher, even if nothing happened, right? Always. Right. But if you have a negative interaction already, and if you want, you can walk me through a process. But negative interaction it varies, right? It could be in the schoolyard. It could be, the child is very disrespectful to one of the teacher or to another students and stuff like that. I would just have a conversation with your child, and then there's a process, right? Have a conversation with your child, not to take sides, obviously, to listen to what they're saying, and have a separate conversation with the staff or the teacher. And now what you want to do is, obviously, when you have a conversation, you're not there to directly thinking of solutions. The most important thing, guys, when you're dealing with school and principals and staff, how you approach the child, the staff, and depends on the age of your child. I would go in with them as well, right? How you approach the administration staff is how you want them to see you. I we as Caribbean people, Afrocentric people, somebody hit my child and somebody disrespect my child and somebody call my child names and stuff like that. We're going to go in and we set them straight. You can set them straight in many different ways. I've done it. I have lots of stories. I set parents, teachers straight in many different ways. But once you're respectful, because how are you showing up? What are the examples you're teaching your child?
True.
That's the most important thing. What example are you teaching? It doesn't matter what. It could have called my kids the N-word. It doesn't matter what. And you better not call my kids the N-word, because I don't have to get involved if you call my kids anything at all, because they'll set you straight.
Right.
professionally,
Mm-hmm.
right? They probably don't even have a word with you.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the most important thing I'm trying to relay here is we must set an example for our children in every aspect, even though the other person is wrong and we're right. We have to set an example on how do we want our kids to, again, you have to demonstrate emotional awareness.
Sure.
You must demonstrate emotional awareness. And to be honest with you, Paul, I love being in situations where I have to go to the school. I love being in a situation where there's big conflict.
Mm.
Why? Because I may not know to deal with conflict, but my body language, my
Mhm.
professionalism,
Right.
and my approach, and you better believe my kid's going to be there. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Better believe.
Yeah.
Because I want him to see how I'm approaching the situation.
Good advice. Good advice.
Gentlemen, want to keep it going? I'm good.
All right. So once you have you have the
I'm good.
last question, Dr. Vibe. You can have the last question, and then we'll wrap it back up. And I see some
All
comments as well. I'm looking to the right.
Let me just say, you mentioned in your kids know how to speak for themselves. Can you give some suggestions on parents on how they can educate their children to speak for themselves when it comes to school, to speak up for themselves? Because the parents can't be with them all the time, and there may be some situations come up where it'd be good that they could speak up for themselves. Do you have any suggestions or best practices that parents can teach their kids on how to speak up for themselves?
Oh man, that's loaded, Doctor Vibe. You're gonna ask that, you should ask that at the top of the show.
All right.
It's so many different levels to that. First of all, I'm no disrespect, and I hope the audience doesn't take offense to what I'm about to say, is that most times most parents take away their kids' voices at home. So everything starts from home. They must have a voice at home. So we talk about choices, right? A lot of things I talk about, it's all intertwined in so many different things. Choices give them a voice. You give them a choice. You give them a voice. When they come from school and they say school is boring, you allow them to have a conversation. You don't say, "What are you talking about? This is our family values. This is we have." If you guys hear me, the entire time we're on here, our conversation. Have a conversation, have open conversation, ask them questions. So this process gives them a voice. Now, on top of that, I teach my kids emotional awareness. So, for example, I know that they were going to school one day, and I know that they're going to be in school for a couple of years, and I know that somebody's going to challenge them. We all know that. As even if you don't have kids, somebody is going to challenge your son or daughter at school. Somebody's going to call them names. Somebody's going to make fun of their pimples or their nose or the way they walk or their shoes. So what I do is I usually have a conversation with my kids, and I'm so glad this happened so many times, because if it doesn't happen, those conversations out the window, right? I have a conversation with my kids and say, you know what? When these things happen, that means the other person has an issue within themselves. So they are portraying that image or that thing on you. And obviously, a 6-year-old daughter, she didn't really understand that, but the conversation kept going to 6, 7, 8, 9, to a point where she started holding her own. So if somebody, that's why I said, oh, dear, anyone call my kids any name, it's a wrap. Because they're going to look at you and say, okay, like, there's no sense I involve in a conversation with you because you clearly have a problem. So they really look on it, and it's a fact. And we have conversation. I call it teachable moments, right? I create teachable moments with my kids to let them understand that anyone call you names or make fun of your pimples. People make fun of my daughter pimples, the nose, the way she talks, whatever the case is. And that doesn't bother her at all. And for a female, it could be devastating. And this is the reason why we want to talk to our kids about, obviously, like I said, give them a voice, give them choices, because they're going to shut down and certain things happen at school. You don't want them to shut down. Yes.
I just have permission up. We have someone who's calling in. So I'd like, he dropped off. Okay, keep on going. I'll watch him. He tried to call in, but I'll look for him again. Finish up your thoughts.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I just want to just finish up by saying that, we have to teach, and there's tools and there's process, right? To walk through with your kids' emotional awareness and let them understand how to speak up for themselves. And now here's the trick about what I just talked about. When we give them a voice and we can have these conversations with them, you don't really have to give them script or to stand up for themselves in situation. They'll automatically stand up for themselves.
All right.
In any situation, you don't have to have a script for them because you already given them a voice and you're having these conversations with them.
All right. Hopefully we have a caller. Harcourt, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good to hear you. Do you have a question or comment?
Actually, I was listening and no, I just had a comment actually because I was listening to Oliver with regards to the things he was saying with regards to mindfulness, etc. It's interesting because some of the things that he was speaking about, I practice without even realizing it. But I'm glad that there's affirmation to some of the things that I've done. Now there are some things that I can do better. So I'm listening to him speak on certain things, and I appreciate that. But I wanted to talk about, just the experience of back to school this year, and how it's been. And I'm wondering if others are going through the same thing, like the anxiety of back to school for some parents, and some kids. Some kids handle it okay, where there's like, it's a new school year, no problem. They're a little excitement with regards to their new teacher, and some there's a little trepidation because they might not like the teacher that they're gonna get or whatever. But then they go and they come back and they're like, teacher is okay, right? I'm just, like I said, I'm just following the conversation and more of listening and trying to understand the advice that Oliver is giving with regards to mindfulness. I think that's important because I think as parents, there's not a handbook that's written with regards to to parenting and not only just parenting but just living life as a human, and then bringing another life into the world, out to direct them, out to instruct them. So I think we can all learn from some of the things that he's saying.
Oliver, do you have anything you want to comment on or ask?
Yes, not necessarily ask, but thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for what you're saying. But here's what I really want to comment on, and let me come a little bit closer so we can all reason. When our children first born, coming from the hospital, right? Everything, we have to imagine this. Everything that they learn, they see, they experience, everything we do is going to affect them for the rest of their life, the first 6 years. So this is the reason why, and I'm going to talk about why I'm saying this. This is the reason why we have to be very careful how we speak about culture, how we speak about others, how we speak about race, how we speak about teachers, how we speak about our friends, how we gossip. When they're walking around, when they're 2 years old or in a toddler, and we're just vibing, we're talking to our uncle, we're talking to our friends, or we're on the phone, and we're thinking that they're not understanding, they are understanding every single thing. They might not articulate it, but understand everything. Here's why I'm saying this. So when the gentleman talked about, okay, some kids, you can have 3 kids in your household and they're 3 different mindset. Some kids have a little bit of anxiety and stuff like that. When that child was coming home from the hospital when the first day they're born, they didn't say to themselves, you know what, when I'm in grade 6 or grade 7, I'm gonna get anxiety. Oh, where's this child comes from where I don't like this teacher? Where's that mindset coming from? It's not from friends. It's not from TikTok. It's not from Instagram. Where's that mindset coming from? It's coming from somewhere in the environment that child was the primary caregiver was in. So this is the reason why we have to be mindful, guys. We have to be mindful of the long-term effect of our approach. So that's all I just want to really talk about.
Oliver,
Yes.
I hear what you just said, but I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I agree. I have to a degree, and I say to a degree, but I'm going back to when you mentioned about where's that mindset coming from with regards to the teacher, because I think it's not necessarily. I don't think that's necessarily from the home, because the teacher is just as new to the parent as he or she is to the student. Sometimes I think it's circulated within the school, because that's a conversation that I've had with my child. Like, so why don't you like this teacher? Or why don't you like the idea of having this teacher? And it's because of what other students have said, like students who have had that teacher. So, and I'll give you an example. My son had a particular teacher.
I think. Oh, he's back. Hold on, let me get him back in.
Yeah, he's making some good points there.
He knew of her.
I don't.
So
okay, Hardcore, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, I was saying that. Yeah, my son had that teacher, and I have 3 kids who 2 of them are still in that school. The other one, he's in high school now. So the 2 younger ones, they know some of the teachers. Some teachers have left, and this particular teacher that I'm speaking about, it's my neighbor's daughter who has that teacher now, and my children who are still there were able to tell the young lady that she has a good teacher, and I was able to say the same thing. So I think a lot of times other kids within the school environment may have a bad experience with a particular teacher, and then it goes around and they say, oh, Mr. So and so is strict, or Miss so and so is da da da. So I don't think it necessarily is a home thing, because as I said, mentioned, some teachers are just as new to the parent as they are to the student, upon new school year.
Yes. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So when I said it comes from the environment, now take a look on the conversation you're having with your child in terms of, and this is the reason why I always tell parents, when you have a conversation with your child, always bring up an example or reference that you've gone through. And here's what I talk to my kids, because we've gone through the same thing in terms of, oh, I don't like this teacher, right? I talk about, can you imagine you in a workplace and like this is your dream job, or this is the job that you really love, especially it's paying a lot of money, and you don't really like your supervisor? Think about that, right? So and I talk about, oh, this is the job that I used to do, and right. So what I mean by it's didn't originated from home, but we can cultivate it in such a way that we shift our children's mind where they can be anywhere in life. It has nothing to do with school. Anywhere in life, because I love school, because you can use school as a platform to teach them about life, right? Anywhere in life where there's gonna people around you, people you're working with, people who are managing you or managing your department that you absolutely don't like. How do you find a way to operate and work with them and align yourself without they don't even know that you dislike them?
Gotcha. Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying, because I've had that experience where I definitely had to shift my mindset with regards to okay. Big, it's very interesting that you bring that up because you see people will also try to make you see things the way they see it based upon their experiences.
Right.
So I totally agree. I see what I get what you're saying, and it makes sense. But
Yeah.
yes, I've used that and that's why I said that if my child were to come to me and say that they don't like this teacher, I have to find out why what causes them to think that, even if I haven't met the teacher yet. And then when I meet the teacher, I have to find a reason for them to find something for them to see a different way so that they can have a better experience than is seemingly imposed on them by somebody else's um experience or words or whatever. So yeah,
Correct. And here's the cool thing about that, and I'm glad you brought that up because I wasn't thinking about that. When you should every parent should make an appointment to speak with that teacher, and the idea is not to speak to the teacher about why kids don't like them. Go there with the intention of just saying, you know what, all I just want to do is touch base, and then your presence and your mannerism and how you kind of have that conversation is make sure your child is there, is directly letting your child understand that basically you're trying to tell your child that there's nothing to dislike about this teacher from your perspective, right?
Right.
So once you have that conversation, you have that conversation with them, not to even mention. Obviously, you want to pick up on cues, right? You want to pick up on how they speak and their mannerism, or maybe they're very abrupt. And you want to pick up on those things, but you're not going there to address that. You're going there to have a genuine conversation and just to touch base and just to interact because of that's what you do.
Okay.
Exactly.
We are going to call that a wrap. Harcourt, I want to say thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it. And don't be a first time last time. Make this a first time of many time. All right.
A first time.
Thank you again. Thank you from all
Thanks
of
for
us.
calling in. All right. Any final comments from Oliver, and then any of the gentlemen, if we have any final comments, we'll call it a wrap. So Oliver, any final thoughts or words?
My final thought is for me, when it comes to raising children, especially if you want to raise resilient children, be mindful of your approach, because a lot of times when you have to remember, when kids were born, they're born with resiliency and self-confidence and everything like that. So little by little, based on our approach, we take it away slowly and slowly, and by the time they reach teenager age, we are seeing it. So stay mindful, stay connected, emotionally connected with your children, and be the change you want to see in your children.
Excellent. Well, thank you for taking the most important thing that you have, not only as a parent, but a human being, as a Black man, your time to invest in us. And again, the contact information is there on the screen. Check him out. He is the real deal. So as Oliver, we like to say to you and your family and all the people that you serve, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace.
Thank you.
All right. Be well and keep the faith.
All right. Take care, brother.
All right, gentlemen, any final thoughts and comments before we wrap it up?
I do have a final thoughts, and I thought it was great to have this conversation today. In particular, I like the fact that Oliver was able to kind of parallel the piece between, or connect the piece between life and school. And I like to add, it's not just about schooling, but it's about education and educating yourself in different forms, whether it's, family, culture, connection, whatever it is. So I think it was great to make that, because a lot of times, even if you don't have children in school, as you mentioned, learning to navigate relationships with folks is something that you have to do throughout your whole life. And if it's good, I can share also, when I say education, that I want to feature my event this week, which is the African Canadian Heritage Association barbecue, which is this Saturday from 1 to 5:30, Thompson Park. Maybe I can share the flyer up here for a second if you don't mind. And then again, it's going to be a celebration. And ASHA is a program that teaches African heritage to our community. So again, I guess in partnership with Green and ASHA, there'll be a barbecue for community Saturday, September 13th, 1 to 5:30. Come out and find out about the program and connect with folks. So thank you much.
All right. Mr. Morris, any final thoughts, words?
For sure. You know, a couple of things that came to mind relative to the journey we've been on in tonight's conversation. And there's two things is that one, even if you're not a parent and you're thinking of preparation to become a parent, feel as though so many gems were dropped on tonight's call around what that looks like in terms of mindset and things that parents can start to, people can do to prepare themselves for the journey of parenting. And then, of course, practical tools for parents leading into this thing called the new school year. And I even think some of the things that were said can be preparation for children going into preschool and all these kind of things with the night before and the morning of, right? And the pre-planning and the notes in the lunch bag and all these things, very practical tools, right? And the couple pieces around, you know, empowering our children, right? We talk about we want, you know, what we want for our children, but sometimes we forget that the empowerment starts with listening and creating space for our children and actually having a mindfulness approach. So I'm hoping again that listeners took that from tonight in terms of increasing the area of your awareness around your parenting. And it's not perfect. It's not to create this perfect parenting paradigm. But if you become more mindful and more aware each and every week in terms of how you approach your parenting and how you approach this new school year, 6 months from now, 9 months from now, in June, in July, the conversation will be different, guaranteed, if you start to increase the level of awareness and mindfulness around how you're parenting and how you're approaching the new school year. So this piece around voice equals choice is one of the things that was mentioned, right? Voice equals choice. So how we can actually ensure that we're giving our children a voice in our homes. And again, or if you're just a caregiver, once again, same kind of scenario, providing a voice for our children is so key and critical. So again, folks, looking forward to further conversation around this topic, because as we go throughout the school year, we'll be bringing different guest speakers and people that can continue to provide more practical tools, because we're having a key focus on education on the show. So it's one of the things that you're going to see repeated. So definitely shoot us a line. You can email us at blackmencantalk@gmail.com. Shoot us your ideas, areas of interest, questions, things that you would like to have, type of guests you'd like to have that are specific to some of these areas around education, around how we empower our community, men's health, etc. So definitely looking forward to future conversations around that and hearing from you, the listeners. Definitely give thanks once again for tuning in to the Black Men Can Talk podcast. Big up Dr. Vibe, big up Brother Paul, and the work we're continuing to do in the engaged community. Thank you so much.
Okay, good stuff. Well, I'm going to make some final quick things. Frequency of Promotion says great show. Also says
Big
Oliver
up.
Levy, big up. He also says Sadat and Kofi have a productive week.
Big up.
And he also says, Dr. Vibe, keep up the good work. I appreciate that. It's not hard work, it's hard work. So that's why it's not a challenging thing for me anymore. Also, I'd like to talk about an event coming up. So I just want to get it here if I can find it. But you know what? I can't find it. Oh, well, that's not the end of the world. All right. So let's close it up here. So if you want to get a hold of Mr. Kofi Sadat, that is all the contact information there. Email, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, etc., etc. Mr. Morris, there's email, get well, stay fit at the Gmail. Also 2 different Instagram accounts, Kofi Coach _ and then Cosmic Wellness Group, and also Kofi Coach on Facebook. I took the easy route. I just want one link. That's all you have to do. taplink.cc / the Dr. Vibe Show. Get you everything you want to know about me in one link. Also, here's an event I want to talk about. The Walnut Foundation, if you're not familiar, they are a Black men's organization, advocates about prostate cancer. And they're having their regular monthly session September 14th, 3 p.m. Eastern Time via Zoom. Those are the meeting details. And during the event, you're going to hear the latest research and programs focused on men's health and wellness from leading experts in healthcare and discover practical strategies for improving health outcomes. And nice enough, we have the head of the Walnut Foundation coming on the show next week because it is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. So a little bit of a prep there. And
Right.
also, if you want to watch replays of this show, you can watch on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and the Dr. Vibe Show website. And also, you can catch it on Paul's or Kofi's Facebook page. That is done. That is it. So as always, we want to end it off. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both. And then finally, make it better. And I also want to share with all the parents and caregivers out there the 3 Ps. 3 Ps for parenting: practice, persistence, and perseverance. So go along with you. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith and walk good.
Time that our parents, they're like, I have nothing to teach you. I don't know nothing. And they know
My dad's at that point now. It says,
That's my point.
But I'm saying, no, Dad, you got lots more to give. You know how cold it is when these two brothers in their yard.
You know that. You know that. You don't know that, bro. You know
No
that.
joke.
I know we all have these things, but you know what? My go-to is this thing.
Wow.
Black book is in it.
Black
Black
book.
Men Talk, Black Book.